Hey, this is Will with Indigo Creek Outfitters, and this is the boatyard. In our last episode, we talked about what our river kitchen looks like and how we set it up, and in this episode, we are going to put some of these items to use and whip up a nice dessert. It's a classic campfire dessert. It's got a little bit of a sophisticated edge to it. I think you're going to really enjoy it. So thanks for tuning in. We'll get going. Alright, so today we're going to make a chocolate mousse some more, and the chocolate mousse part's relatively easy to put together, but it does require a little bit of lead time because the mousse itself needs to harden and cool down. And so we would typically make this in the morning while we're at camp, and then we put it in our gear boat's camp cooler. That way it has all day long to firm up so that when we're at camp after dinner it's already basically put together. So we've got the chocolate mousse, we've got the marshmallows, we've got the graham crackers, we've got some whipped cream. And this is a really tasty twist on what's normally a really basic dessert. So I think you're going to really like it. We've got going on, we've got 4 egg yolks in here with 3 tablespoons of sugar, a pinch of salt. We've got 3/4 of a cup of heavy whipping cream here. We're going to heat this up. While this is heating up, I'm going to kind of whip this together. We're going to bake a double boiler by putting water in a Dutch oven and a bowl over the top of that, and we'll use that to heat up the chocolate. And then in the end we'll kind of mix everything together, throw in a little bit more cream, and that should give us the magic to make the chocolate mousse. So we'll get started. One other thing I forgot to mention is the most important thing about cooking is cooking with confidence. The number one thing that helps me with that is to have a very nice apron, and so my personal preference is this nice Indigo Creek Outfitters apron. If you don't have one of these, you can substitute it for a lesser brand, but this is really the most ideal way to get going.
Excuse me.
Alright, so we're going to get going here. Get the stove lit. That guy's on. This is going to be our double boiler right here. So that's going to heat up so there's water in here. I put this bowl over the top of it, throw the chocolate in. Bam! There we go. We got cream, heavy whipping cream. We got to warm that up. That's on. Turn that down a little bit. This only has to get up to 160 degrees, so it doesn't have to be too hot. While this stuff's happening, I'm going to start whipping our egg yolks with the sugar. And once the cream is heated up, I can actually turn that off and start mixing this in with the cream. So that's going to be the next step here.
Yippee!
Yippee! I've got a live studio audience today. My son Carson. He really likes chocolate.
Hey, so are you hoping I will like this little treat?
I hope you like this little treat.
Alright.
Alright, so we're at the point now where the cream's heated up. That's why you wear an apron.
Hey, Dad.
And we're going to slowly...
Hey, Dad, you are messy.
Yeah.
But,
pour this in like this. Not all of it at once.
but it's good.
You don't want it to cook the egg. You stir it in. Nice and slow. Stir a little bit more in. It's going to be so delicious.
There's a bee.
There's no bee.
I just saw it looking at the powder.
Now, once this is all mixed together, I'm actually going to pour it all back into the saucepan.
Wow! What was that happening? What just did that?
Because we're going to get it warm again. Keep it warm. We don't want it boiling. Again, it only is going to be about 160 degrees. You can use a thermostat if you want, or you can just put your finger in it. If it burns, then it's too hot. Here we go, back in the saucepan. I think things are going very well so far. Alright, so we're mixing up keeping this hot. It's not quite to 160 yet. It's getting close. I actually turn the heat down substantially because I don't want to totally cook this. We're actually at the point in here where I'm going to turn this off for the time being, and the hot water underneath here will keep this nice and kind of melted, like it's not going to harden up on us in a hurry or anything. As I'm going to whip some cream into some whipping cream, or until it peaks anyway, and I'm going to do 1 1/4 cups of whipped cream, whipped, and about 1/4 of that's going to end up in the chocolate mousse, and so that will kind of lighten it up, fluff it up a little bit. Right, so we're at the point now where this is going to go into the chocolate, just like this. So we just poured the cream in. We'd whipped it until it peaked, dropped it in here. It's just about 1/4 cup. And now I'm just mixing this up, getting it nice and smooth. Now some people will run the custard actually like through a strainer. Here in the woods, nobody cares about that, so it doesn't really matter. So we got our chocolate mousse in a Tupperware. I'm actually going to leave it out of the cooler for just a little bit, let it cool down a bit before I throw it into the cooler, just so we don't melt a ton of ice. A couple things that you may have noticed is if we were actually at a restaurant right now, the chocolate mousse would have been put into whatever you would be serving it in. Here on the river, that's difficult, especially since it's going in a cooler that's in a boat that's moving downstream and possibly bouncing off of rocks or riding up big waves. And so the cooler is going to do stuff like this. That's why I prefer the Tupperware. You can also use a Ziploc. Ziplock's handy also, like if you've got tiny little crevices along the side of the cooler that you can kind of like squeeze it into. It's important that this stuff gets cold. So as low into the cooler as possible is the way to go. And it's important that it's sealed. So just like throwing in a bowl like this, it might spill if it goes on a wild ride. So anyway, Tupperware, it's going to sit out here for just a touch. I'm going to throw it in the cooler, and then at camp later tonight we will finish the rest of dessert. So don't go anywhere, we'll be right back. Alright, so I've got some marshmallows going. We're at our new camp for the night. We did about 14 miles today, which is awesome. And at this point the mousse is firmed up, it's ready to roll. We just served dinner, the other guys are cleaning stuff up right now. I've got some marshmallows going in this frying pan. I've got my graham crackers over here. They're ready to be placed. I like to break the graham crackers up a little bit, and that way you can kind of like do artsy things with them in the chocolate mousse. And we're just about ready. The chocolate mousse is perfect. Consistency is good. This amount serves, it should serve 8, but I think realistically it's going to serve 4 because we're going to eat all of it very quickly. Here's some marshmallow we're going to throw in there. Come on. Kind of sticky. And our graham cracker friends go in there like this. And I did make whipped cream earlier and I ate it, so now we're using this. Oh, it's just as good. Ta-da! Thanks for joining me today. We'll see you at the next one.